Buying your first house is such a massive decision. What totally baffles me is that when you are going through those bidding wars, offers, and negotiations, you have to make this massive decision within minutes. But that's the reality of the housing market in big cities right now. To make sure that you're making the right decision under the gun, I want to help you to be as informed and researched as possible. So let's dive into the 10 steps you need to take to buy a house. Throughout this video, I'll give comments and feedback on my own experience since my husband and I just bought our first home. Let's say you saved up $25,000. That would technically be enough for a 5% down payment on a $500,000 house. Does that mean that you're ready to buy? I would say definitely no. The rule that my husband and I stuck to for the past 3 years to be able to comfortably buy a house is the following. We keep 4 months worth of our expenses as an emergency fund in a high interest savings account. We also told ourselves that we should aim to at least max out our TFSA accounts and try to invest beyond that, and to have at least a 20% down payment for our house. In Canada, when you make a down payment of less than 20%, you're also responsible to pay for default mortgage insurance. In our example above, you would have to pay around $19,000 in mortgage default insurance, whereas if you put down 20%, you would pay zero. Everyone has different goals and dreams, of course, and if your dream is to own a house and start building that equity, you might want to put down the $25,000 you saved up. However, I would look at it as putting all of your eggs into this one basket, which is your house. What if the housing market crashes? What if the area that you bought in suddenly depreciates? These are the factors you cannot control. This is why you should aim to diversify your savings and always have an emergency fund. Step 2, do your research. This means research the city and the neighborhood that you're looking to buy in. What will be built in the future in that area? Will it appreciate or depreciate the value of your house? What makes more sense for you? A detached house, townhouse, or a condo? For us, this research took about a year. We live in Toronto right now, and we realized that for us to comfortably afford a mortgage, it would be a massive stretch. And that's how we came to a decision to move to Calgary. Step 3, know all the fees. If you think owning a $500,000 house just means paying your monthly mortgage, think again. Let's take a look at Toronto, for example. $500,000 right now, you're looking at a studio condo unit, probably less than 500 square feet. Currently, to rent it, you would pay about $2,200 per month. But if you put down 5% and take a 5% interest rate, you would be paying around $4,000 per month. This includes things like property taxes, utilities, repair costs, condo fees, and things like that. You might think that renting in this case is clearly better, but it's not that simple. There's some calculations that you could make to understand whether buying would be better for you or renting. If you're interested in that, stay tuned for my next week's video where I will dive into this topic specifically. Step 4. Get a real estate agent. I talked about our realtor in Calgary in my previous episode, but overall we looked for someone who would really show that they clearly understand and know their market. Someone who wasn't pushy, but at the same time was there when we needed them to make an offer. Get pre-approval. I recommend looking into 3 to 4 major mortgage lenders. So in Canada, you would be looking at TD, RBC, and so on. Then also look into newer lenders like Questrade or EQ Bank. Talk to each mortgage advisor, understand what they're offering and what the differences are. Don't be afraid to ask any questions, no matter how obvious they might sound. This is your first time buying a home and everyone understands that. You could also choose to work with a mortgage broker. So it's a company that will do all these calls and appointments for you, and they will look into all these different rates and present you with the best rate that they could find. They're also free because they take their payment from the bank and not from you. So if you don't want to make all of those appointments and do the research yourself, this might be a good option for you. House hunting. Although you have a real estate agent, realize that it is you who needs a house, not the agent. They might set you up with automated emails that will send you an alert every time something that you're looking for pops up on the market, but it's definitely on you to monitor those emails and other listings platforms. I really like Zillow's UX, but I noticed that properties there pop up 10 to 15 minutes after our realtor's internal website. But it's a great way to look at properties and assess what is it that we're looking for. Step 7, make an offer. In your offer, you will be giving the following information: total price that you're willing to pay, deposit amount, and conditions. Conditions typically include a house inspection. I would highly recommend doing it because you want to know if there are any major issues with the house. Financing is another important condition. You might want to talk to your mortgage lender beforehand for them to appraise the house. If they appraise it much lower than what you're about to pay for it, they will not let you borrow that much money for it. And if you're buying a condo or a townhouse, you might want to review condo documents as well. Can you do short-term rentals? Are pets allowed? Things like that. All of these conditions are totally up to you. If you feel like you're happy with the house and you're not worried about any major risks or condo documents, you can waive all the conditions. If the current seller conditionally accepts your offer, you will send a deposit payment. If any of your conditions aren't satisfied, for example, the house inspector finds a major issue, or the lender doesn't agree to lend you money anymore, in this case, the seller will send your deposit back and you're out. But if everything is fine, they keep the deposit payment and you proceed with the deal. When we made our offers, we also included a letter explaining who we are and our picture. I don't know if that made a big difference, to be honest, but I think it added a human touch and made us stand out. We also offered a really high deposit since we already had the money for the down payment. It didn't matter for us how much of a deposit we would have to give them. If the conditions weren't satisfied, we would have that money back anyway. So we decided to send $100,000. Normally, for the house of our price, people would send 20 to 30K. And I'm pretty sure that this helped with our offer because the seller got reassured that we can afford the house. Step 8, exercise your conditions and close the deal. For us, it took us about 5 days to do the house inspection and talk to our mortgage lender. The inspector gave us a 40-page document. Thankfully, there was nothing wrong with the house. The only issue that we had was the water pressure, which we negotiated with the seller, and the seller agreed to fix it before we move in. But the rest of the 40-page document included useful information on how to maintain the house over the years. The mortgage lender got all the paperwork together and appraised the house. The appraisal actually turned out to be a little bit higher than what we're paying for the house, so that gave us a little bit of peace of mind. After a week, we officially closed on the house, but we're only starting to pay for our mortgage from the moment we move in. Step 9, prepare to move in. Do you need to repair or renovate the house? What about painting and deep cleaning? Arrange everything beforehand. We also arranged movers. I contacted traditional movers who quoted us about $3,500 to $4,000 for a 1-bedroom sized amount of things. But I found a way to move our stuff for $2,000. If you'd like to know how I did that, stay tuned for the moving vlog. Bonus tip, open your first home savings account. If you're not about to buy right now, open it now and start investing. But you're just like us and about to buy or buying right now, you should still open it and do it, because whatever money you put in there and you take that money out for the down payment will not be taxed. So you'll be saving at least a few $1,000s. And step 10, finally move in. This is the only step that we haven't completed yet. We can't wait to start the next chapter of our lives. We're also very grateful to be in this position before 30. Our education that our parents were able to give us and spending time to become financially literate in the past few years are the reasons why we are able to buy a house right now. The next video will be about renting or buying and what is right for you. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching.